All right, guys. Good evening and welcome back into the Rotoballer PGA Show, coming to you live every single Monday evening, 7:30 Eastern Time. I am Ian here with my co-host, as always, Matt. Coming off the Farmers Insurance Open, we'll be covering most of the episode will be about the WM Phoenix Open, but first a little bit on last week. Not much to talk about in terms of competitiveness on the weekend. Justin Rose shoots 10 under to claim the first round lead and goes wire to wire at Torrey Pines, ending up with a 7-shot win. I believe it's a tournament record, 23 under par over 4 days at Torrey Pines. Crazy, crazy week for a 45-year-old dude. I know for me, just in passing, I might have said something about him, as a value just based on OWGR, but I was not vouching for the 45-year-old dude at a 7,800 golf course. So, Matt, I don't know how much of it you got to watch. I know, big week for your boy Brooks. He made the cut, won a 3-ball in round 1, so some progress there. We'll talk about him later. But, man, overall thoughts on the week.
Yeah, I watched a good bit of Brooks. It was good to see him back playing on the PGA Tour, back at Torrey. Always enjoy watching him. But, yeah, absolutely dominant from Justin Rose. Did not see that coming. He came out of the gates hot on Thursday, but it was one of those things that you can kind of justify because he was on the North course. So you can never get too down after, one round at this event. But when he came out and did what he did on Friday on the South, I kind of just felt like it was over at the end of the day, Friday, to be honest. And he continued on to the weekend playing the same way. But really impressive for him. We kind of talked about it before we came on. He's still got some distance for a 45-year-old guy. He played unbelievable. So credit to him. Kind of tough for us in the market that we're in. I mean, we don't have a week with Scotty Scheffler in the field, and Rose does that and kind of laps the field. So
we definitely gave ourselves a little bit of a pat on the back. We didn't hit the winner at Amex, but we kind of gave ourselves a little pat on the back with the handicapping process. Had a lot of guys in the mix at the Amex, and the Farmers, for all intents and purposes, for me was dead after Friday. A little bit of hope with Hideki on Saturday, but Rose came out there. I mean, you mentioned the ball striking that he displayed is just off the tee. His iron play was phenomenal. He missed 9 of 36 greens on the weekend. Which I think is super impressive when you think about him coming into that Saturday afternoon, the guy to beat in that field on a really difficult golf course, Torrey Pines South, and comes out there and just ball strikes the heck out of the place. So 5 under through 10 on Saturday afternoon.
And that's one of the things where I don't know if him being like a veteran kind of helps him out, because a lot of the times you see when guys have like a big lead going into the weekend, they tend to kind of get a little bit conservative and kind of try not to make mistakes where it ultimately kind of costs them shots. They're not playing as aggressively, and Rose just kind of kept doing the same thing, and he just ran away with it.
Dude, he was firing at pins because I was tracking a lot of the round. I had Hideki like lingering, kind of like, in 6th, 7th place for like a little bit of Sunday or Saturday afternoon, and Rose would just he would step up to like a 480-yard par 4, hit the fairway, have like 8 iron to the green, stick it to 6 feet, make the putt. It's just like, well, this is over. So, unbelievable. I mean, he's now the 3rd best player in the world per OWGR. Has 2 like marquee wins over the last, probably 6-7 months, dating back to the FedEx Cup playoffs. Of course, finished runner-up at the Masters last year. Has like a top 20 at the Open as well. I know pretty much the entirety of golf Twitter was flaunting the Justin Rose futures over the weekend. If he ends up winning a major this year, there'll be a lot of cash tickets from those future markets. But I mean, where do you go from here for Rose? Because I mean, he's the 3rd best player in the world via OWGR. I don't think many people would consider him actually the 3rd best player in the world. But like as we go into Pebble Beach, he's had a lot of success at. He's had a lot of success in the Florida swing, places like the Players Championship. I think suits him very well. Of course, Augusta National. So there's some courses here that are coming up that he could really carry this momentum forward.
It's
where do you like this hierarchy right now?
Yeah, it's been super impressive. I mean, like you said, he's won a Pebble. He's played well in the Florida swing. Augusta, he had a legitimate chance to win last year. And even, people are talking about the PGA. It's back in like the Philly area. Obviously, when they had the U.S. Open in Marion, he won that. So he's had some success, in this area as well. But it's tough to sustain this kind of play for that extended period of time. I mean, we're just at the beginning of February, so is he going to still be able to maintain this form, going into April and May? We'll see. But he certainly right now, I mean, he's playing great. And like you said, I mean, I don't know if I'd consider him like the third best golfer in the world, but he certainly earned the spot as, number 3 right now. He's playing unbelievable golf.
Yeah. Right now on Masters Futures boards, he's the 9th man in. Scotty, Rory, Ludwig, Bryson, Rahm, Xander, Tommy, and actually Colin Morikawa is 8th. I don't know if I agree with that, but he is right behind Colin Morikawa at 32-1 as I look at it on Bookmaker right now. So, certainly getting a lot of respect in market. If you guys were able to nab like anything better than 50-1, I think, on these majors, especially the Masters and the Open, I feel like are the two that make the most sense to me. But certainly, I mean, he's proven he can mix it up with elite fields. I mean, if you can win at Torrey Pines, shoot 23 under there over 4 days, it's hard for me to make a case against you really anywhere.
Yeah, no, totally. That's like a U.S. Open venue, So to do what he did there, obviously not the setup, but still very impressive.
Okay, man. Yeah, well, again, not the best week for the betting card. We were pretty aligned last week, so I think once you struck out, I was pretty much struck out as well. I also bet Xander, which is a different story entirely. We'll get to him maybe a little bit later. But yeah, wraps up Torrey Pines. Biggest statement of the year so far in the golfing world. Justin Rose, 7-shot win. We'll probably see him again. We'll see him again next week. It'll be interesting to see what his price is at Pebble Beach. Maybe like 30-1.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty low on the board. I mean, he has to be the way he's playing, and obviously he's had success at that course too. We'll have a full field, so not full field, but all the top guys will be playing elevated event. So yeah, I'm curious to see where he lines up, but I think the books certainly have to give him respect with the way he's playing.
No, for sure. But a conversation for a week's time. We move on to the WM Phoenix Open. Again, haven't been to an elevated event yet with the I guess postponement of Kapalua until next year. Still waiting on the first signature event that will happen next week at Pebble Beach. But this is about as close as I think as we're going to get to this point in the year with the electricity that exists around TPC Scottsdale, with the cachet, the public interest that you're going to see. It's spot right before the Super Bowl. I think it's kind of edge to spot, like just in general sports, the general sports lexicon this week. It's kind of just the lead up act to the Super Bowl. And a lot of the Super Bowl parties I go to, that's like what's on TV before we flip over to the game. So yeah, it's a nice week for, to get the maybe get your friends that are a bit less into the golf into it on a week-to-week basis. Super fun event, of course. You got the Stadium Hole at 16. I think TPC Scottsdale is a very exciting course all around. A lot of risk reward. You can make a lot of birdies, but you can also find a lot of trouble on this golf course as well. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get into the model. That's kind of how we'll contextualize the stats so far. If you didn't tune in last week, what we'll do, our kind of course preview segment will be in the form of a draft. So me and Matt will go back and forth drafting 3 stats apiece that we find find particularly interesting this week, particularly important this week at TPC Scottsdale. So I'll give it to Matt first. If you could draft any stats, could be as general as strokes get off the tee or total driving, or as in the weeds as like a specific proximity bucket of 25 yards. What kind of are you going for with your first pick here?
Yeah, I'll stay somewhat consistent to last week. I started with an off the tee category. I'm going to do the same this week, except I'm going to make it total driving. I think a lot of guys are, a lot of holes are hitting driver off the tee this week. Distance is always an advantage, but I don't think that, shorter hitters this week are completely, kind of out of it like we talked about last week. And the reason I'm also picking total driving is the rough isn't very penal this week, but there is like a big missed penalty, in comparison to last week, whether you missed a fairway by a couple yards or, 15 yards, you're still kind of looking at the same type of shot into the green. This week, the big misses, there is some trouble around here. So I'm going to start with total driving.
For sure. I think this is a ball striking golf course. You look at the list of past champions here. It's guys like Scheffler, Koepka, Gary Woodland, Ricky Fowler, Hideki Matsuyama, a lot of guys that are kind of known for their ball striking. So for sure, I think if there was a week maybe to lean into the no putt guys, it could be this week. These greens are typically some of the easier on tour. especially when you compare it to last week at Torrey Pines, where you really need to have some kind of pedigree on Poana to really be taken seriously. But yeah, in the modeling, I'm going to have it being your first round pick, you're going to get 25% of your weight on total driving. I'm going to split between 12.5% on distance and 12.5% on a good drive percentage. So that's going to be the modeling here. I'm going to go into the other ball striking stat. I'm just going to keep it pretty general. Strokes gain approach. Again, 4 of the last 5 champions here have gained over 5 shots to the field with their iron play. Second shot golf course. We'll get into the specific proximity buckets here in just a little bit, but yeah, second shot golf course. Like you said, there's ample room off the tee here as long as you don't miss super crazy wide. So guys are gonna have a lot of chances kind of from that middle iron, long iron range to hopefully create some chances. So total driving 25% and strokes gain approach 25% to start our modeling. Second round pick, Matt.
I'm gonna go a little outside the box on this one. I am gonna pick. Maybe we could talk about what the best way to kind of what stat to use to kind of best encompass this. I'm thinking maybe like an Eagles gained or something stat where the back 9 on this course in particular, you got the par 5 15th coming in the closing stretch, obviously 3 par 5s in the course, and then you have 17, which is the drivable par 4. A lot of opportunities here on these holes to pick up strokes, and also kind of the way the holes are set up. They're bogey holes as well. I mean, we've seen a lot of guys go into the water and kind of take themselves out of the tournament on these holes. So are you thinking Eagles gain for this? How would you what stat would you use to best kind of encompass that?
We could either do Eagles gain or we could do just birdie or better percentage. It's up to you. But yeah, I certainly think you got to take advantage of, like, there's holes on this property that you just kind of have to take advantage of. The 3 par 5s, the drivable par 4 17th. If you start making pars in those holes, I think, especially on Saturday and Sunday down the stretch, you're going to be losing shots to the field in a hurry. So yeah, I would say let's just go birdie or better percentage. Is that all right with you?
Yeah, that works for me.
Cool. So last 25 or last 75 rounds, birdie or better percentage here. Okay. Cool. So I'm going to kind of lean even further into my initial thesis about iron play. I'm actually just going to go into the general proximity bucket that I was talking about earlier. I'm going just proximity to the hole 150 to 200. Over 40% of historical approach shots have come from this range. If you read my weekly power rankings this week, I alluded to this stat a lot. A lot of my guys that were ranked inside the top 10 this week were like really prolific, like middle iron players, 150 to 200 yards. So that's going to be, again, my key stat. Again, I think this is a ball strikers golf course, so going to just lean in as much as possible to that specific stat. So right now, 40% of our total weighting is on iron play, 25 being strokes gain strokes gain approach, 15% being proximity, 25% to total driving, and 15% to birdie or better percentage. So we have 10% each. Matt, if you have one more stat for us.
I want to throw something in there for course history. And the reason I want to do that is that this course kind of tends to have course history is pretty indicative here. I mean, you tend to see the same guys pop up on the leaderboard. We've had, multiple time winners here. Recently, Brooks has won twice, Scotty's won twice. But the guys who play well here, Hideki, the guys who play well here tend to kind of always play well here. So I think that's interesting to look at. I might kind of be contradicting myself a little bit later on in the show with one of the guys I'm looking at, but I think that's definitely something to keep an eye on this week.
For sure. I was actually looking at this right before the show. Outside of Augusta, TBC San Antonio, and Riviera, this is like right there with like the Wildeyes of the world, the East Lakes of the world, the harbor towns, Mayfield Village, in terms of predictive course history. So yeah, your point's well taken. And I think a lot of the popular names this week are going to be guys that have continually proven their merit around this golf course. So yeah, 10% weighting on TBC Scottsdale course history. And I'm just going to add 10%, my final 10% to putting. Now, putting, I'm going to kind of specifically hone in on the overseeded greens that we're going to see this week in the desert. We see them a lot early season, especially kind of in the southeast and southwest before the Bermuda kind of comes in. So you're talking about places like here, TBC Sawgrass, Innisbrook, Harbor Town. Even last year at Quail Hollows PGA Championship, we had the overseeded Poa Trivialis greens. So there's quite a lot of data to kind of sort through over the last kind of years with courses that have these. So guys like Sam Burns, who I wrote about in the Power Control article this week, is particularly good on those. You notice he's played well on a lot of those golf courses. So that will be my final 10%. So again, we have 25% weight, excuse me, on total driving, 25% weight on strokes gain approach, 15% on proximity to the hole from 150 to 200, 15% on birdie or better percentage, 10% on course history around TPC Scottsdale, and 10% on strokes gain putting on these overseeded Poana services. So going to go ahead and just fire up the rudimentary model and see if I can't share my screen here. There. Okay, that should be that. All right. So this is our full ranking. See if that's, there we go. Maybe a bit more visible there. All right. So we got Scotty Scheffler, of course, at the top. I think if you run literally any model, he'll be at the top. And you can see even the score here is 89.33, which the difference between him and our second top player, Kurt Kitayama, is the same difference as Kurt to number 22, 23 in the modeling. So gives you an idea of kind of why Scotty Scheffler is priced the way he is. But yeah, Scotty number 1, Kitayama number 2. My boy Nikolai Højgaard, maybe go back to him for a second straight week. He's number 3. Ben Griffin is 4. Siwoo Kim is 5. Xander Schauffele 6. Hideki Matsuyama 7. Sam Burns 8. Victor Hovland 9. Akshay Bhatia 10. That's quite interesting. That's maybe drawing a little bit, maybe too much from the long-term stuff. Let's see what he excels at. So he's really good in the proximity, pretty good putter on these services. Good birdie, better percentage, good approach play, long-term. Daniel Berger comes 11th, who came runner-up here last year. Cameron Young, Corey Connors, Keith Mitchell, and Max Homa. Oh, boy, didn't need to see that. So anything stick out to you, Matt, with these top 15 guys?
A few names surprising. Akshay, you mentioned. Nikolai's pretty high on the list. We were on him last week. Kitayama, I mean, number 2 in our model. Not that our model's the end all be all, but pretty interesting there.
Yeah. I mean, I think anytime you have like a distance bias golf course and a lot of like mid to long irons, he's going to pop up for you, especially when you only put 10% weight on putting. But yeah, I mean, he did finish 8th here back in 2024, 23rd in 2023. So he's got some positive course history. Certainly like an elite caliber ball striker. I mean, he's won at Bay Hill before, so he's already proven his merits at kind of longer, more difficult golf courses. But yeah, so again, this is a pretty rudimentary exercise that we have here, but just to get you all an idea of what we're looking at, rather than me droning on for 15 minutes about my course preview article. This is kind of maybe a bit more practical for you guys. So that is our top 15. Give you some context before we head into the odds board. We'll go ahead and get this off the screen.
I wonder where did we save ours from last week? I wonder where Rose ended up in that.
You know what? I don't think I saved it, to be honest with you. But maybe I might moving forward. we actually should. I might go back I'll go back to last week's video and see if because we scrolled down to like top 20.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know if he was in the top 20 off the top of my head. If he was quite low down there. But yeah, that's actually a good idea. We'll track where the winners have been to see how good we are, how predictable the model actually is before we go touting it to the masses here. But yeah, okay, so that is the modeling here, and we'll just go ahead and move right into the odds board. Really, only one man to talk about at the very top, in a tier of his own, maybe 2 tiers above everyone else at this point. But Scotty Scheffler, world number 1, trying to go for 2 for 2. In his first 2 starts of 2026. He can be found as high as plus 245 on the odds board. I think for those of us that bet golf week in, week out, maybe not something we're considering. But I think the main question maybe is without Scotty Markets. Are you trying to tackle? Are you trying to take him on this week and maybe taking some enhanced numbers down the board? Or is this a week where you're just so kind of frightened of Scheffler that you're willing to maybe take the depressed prices and just forget about him for the week?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how legitimate this conversation's become. I think especially just like the way that he won the Amex is pretty scary for going into an event like this where he's had so much success before. But it's tough. I mean, you're kind of swallowing, a major blow to some of these numbers, depending on the guy. If you're betting the without Scotty market, I still think at this point I'm going to just take him on. But I do definitely believe, especially in a week like this, it's gonna affect the way that I make my card. I think you have to almost assume that he's gonna be on the first page of that leaderboard on Sunday. So when you're making a card of these guys that a lot of times we like guys further down the board that we're kind of hopeful can get a win or they're trending in the right direction, but it's a whole different animal when you're going to have to go head to head with Scotty on Sunday.
For sure. And I think the main deterrent for me in the without markets is the dead heat rules. Because it's one thing if you're able to get 21 payouts on any second place finish to Scotty, but you start getting these guys at 20, 25 to 1 without Scotty, and then if they tie 2 ways, 3 ways, all of a sudden you're looking at a dead heat, a 30-year payout. You might as well just bet the top 5 at, rather than getting a dead heat 3 ways at 20 to 1, you can just bet the top 5, including ties, at like 3 or 4 to 1, and you're looking at maybe better allocation of your funds there. So, yeah, I haven't noticed any particular numbers in those markets that have like really enticed me to this point. And as markets mature, especially the outrights, like the with Scotty outright market, we're starting to get some drift on guys that I tend to like quite a bit. So we'll talk about some of the numbers available on the second, third, fourth tier of names here at the WM Open. So yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'm more in the camp of let's just take him on. And winning golf tournaments is hard. So yeah, there's obviously a great chance he wins this week. The implied probability is roughly 30% right now with his current odds, but I'm kind of willing to just scoop up the numbers when I can and hope, the bad punting whip comes.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, it's tough to imagine that he's not going to be around, especially on this course.
His top 5 price is minus 190.
So, are you going to kind of look at it the same way where you're almost looking, not to say it's like a major, but you almost have to bet it as like a guy who you're taking this week has to kind of have some big stones because he's going to have to go head to head with Scotty and beat him on Sunday.
Yeah, for sure. I think I might approach it it might be a week where I kind of split my allocations as opposed to just going full outrights. I might just sprinkle on some top 5s, sprinkle on a top 10 if it's a longer shot. That way there's some sort of insurance there for me. It's a good week, I think, for each ways as well. Just to kind of have that inherent out in your back pocket just in case Scotty runs away with it. You still have that kind of sweat with a top 6 or top 8 each way. I think that's a solid way to play it as well. Rather than just kind of betting a 20 to 1, because in the without market, the only real out in which it's a good bet is if your player comes solo second to Scotty and you get the full payout. But once you start dead heating these things, and your 20 to 1 gets split down to 10 or 6 or 5 to 1, that's when I think it becomes, not really worth its while.
It's a really good point.
So, but yeah, definitely a week where I think you got to be a bit more creative, considering, to be quite frank, if we're just going to talk about, like, if we just remove like the without market discussion, I don't actually think the top, like the Scotty Scheffler plus 245 is a bad bet, just for the record, because like the implied probability of plus 245 is 29%. He's won 7 of his last 14 professional tournaments. Here at Scottsdale, he's won 2 of his last 5. Including a 4th and a 7th in 2 of the 3 starts he did win. The one start he didn't finish inside the top 7 was last year when he was still recovering from slicing his hand open trying to make ravioli in his kitchen. So, like, you can kind of throw that out a little bit. He was playing pretty well below baseline for the first 3 months of last season. So, this is a week where, I feel like people in our circle that don't maybe bet golf every single week are going to text you, ask you for opinions on this week because people want action on this tournament. It's it's a fun tournament. It's going to get its run on ESPN and the pre Super Bowl run and everything like that. So my answer to them might just be like just bet Scotty at plus 245. It's probably you're probably gonna have a sweat, So just put the $100 down on that, and if you want to make a card that was just like Scotty plus 240, I'm sure you could probably get a boost or something up to like close to 3 to 1, and then bet all the guys that we have interested down the board, like top 5 or top 10. Like, I think you could actually feasibly make a pretty nice card and have some sweats going into the weekend.
Yeah, I think there's a legitimate way to go about it. And I think betting Scotty's definitely warranted, especially this week, the way he's played at this course. Not necessarily as fun, but
yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I thought about it. I thought about just putting $500 down on Scotty Scheffler this morning and to pay out 1,600 if I win. Like including my stake. So
yeah,
because like the course fit is so perfect. Like it's one thing to bet Scotty like plus 300 if we haven't really seen any like proof of concept on the golf course, but I mean, time and time again on these like TPC Sawgrasses, Bay Hills, Muirfield Villages, Augusta Nationals, like these golf courses that he's repeatedly played well on, it's almost just, it's like a formality. Like he's going to be there.
No, I mean, we kind of let off with it. It's just, he's going to be around on the weekend. So
Yeah.
to your point, yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I'm not going to do it this week, but I wouldn't fault anyone for doing it. It's probably the smart bet to me.
Yeah. I mean, especially like, I mean, it's plus 245. I mean, in any other betting space, like that's, a big payout, like almost tripling your money or over tripling your money. But here in the golf space, we just,
Yeah, we get greedy. We see, sometimes anything less than like 20, I'm like, bad number. But when you take it at, in comparison to everything else.
Yeah. But yeah, honestly, I'm just going to say it right now. I think there's worse bets on the board than Scotty Scheffler plus 240.
For sure.
If you just wanted to like wipe your hands of this week, I almost guarantee you're gonna have a swing on Sunday. So that being said, I'm probably not gonna do that. So I'm gonna get roped into the usual suspects down the board. So let's go ahead and move on to guys that that we kind of like and we are more likely to have exposure to in the outright market when our cards come out Tuesday or Wednesday. We jump from plus 245 all the way to 20-1 for our next man up here. Xander Schauffele, last week's favorite, comes in at 20-1 at TPC Scottsdale. Played really well here in the past, but of course has some question marks to answer after last week's performance at Torrey Pines. Cameron Young can be found as high as 25-1 at FanDuel. Siwoo Kim 27-1, Hideki Matsuyama 28-1, and Sam Burns 30-1. So 5 names here between 20 and 30-1. Xander, Cam Young, Siwoo, Hideki, Burns. I mean, all these guys made my top 10 ranking. So, of course, I mean, not surprised. I have very interest in all these guys. But where do you kind of stand on these next 5 names? Do you see yourself maybe leading your card off here 20 to 30-1?
I do. He's probably going to be, I think he is popular this week, and he's probably going to be popular all year, really. But I'm going to take Cam Young this week.
Yeah, I get it.
Feels like a good week for him. I mean, he hit it well last week off the tee and on approach, which is positive to see. And he was 12th and 8th here his last 2 starts. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's a good fit for him. I think that a lot of people think he's going to have a big year. I tend to agree with that. I think this is a good spot for him to kind of kickstart that. I think he's going to play well this week. Yeah,
for sure. No, I mean, I'm right there with you. I haven't bet it yet, but I mean, you talk about like a golf course that's proved to be like a launching pad for a lot of like young guys, their breakout wins. Of course, Scheffler's first win came here in 2022, I believe. Yeah, 2022. Brooks got his first win here, stateside at least, in 2015. Ricky, when he was a kid, came second in 2010. So we've seen like the emergence of these talented young guys that burst on the scene here at the Waste Management. Cam Young, of course, fits that profile. So, yeah, I'm kind of worried. Like if I start on the Cam Young bandwagon this week, it's like, man, we got Riviera coming up, and then we got Bay Hill coming up, and just like, man, how much money am I prepared to sink into the Cam Young, coffin? But
that's the problem, because he's probably going to play well enough where we're not going to hop off. We're going to be committed to it for months at a time. But I'm kind of hoping to win and get off.
Yeah, I mean, and I think 25-1 is a fair enough number to be honest with you. I certainly like it better than the 21 on Xander. I think there's still a lot of question marks to be answered there. I bet that 15-1 like pretty early in the week last week. I think I came on here and touted a 15-1 ticket on Xander Schauffele Monday afternoon or Monday evening, and then I listened to his press conference on Tuesday, and I mean, keep in mind his son was born in August, and he won the Bay Current like 2 months later. So like I wasn't like in full blown panic, but like hearing him talk about like he basically took the whole fall off of golf. He didn't really practice, and I'm just like, this is not really the vibes I'm looking for when I like touted him on the show at 15-1, and he was number one in my power ranking. So yeah, he missed the cut in the number. I mean, it was far from disastrous. And look, Xander's played well here in the past. He's got the talent to turn it around, but I'm going to probably play wait and see a bit more on Schauffele, especially if we're getting prices still at 19, 20-1. I'm with you on Cam Young. I'm still kind of deciding though. Siwoo and Hideki are the two that really kind of stick out to me. Who would have thought 27-1 Siwoo Kim is really like, it's really tempting me here in February 2026. But I mean, he has been on an absolute tear. He was number 2 on my power rankings this week. 10 straight finishes worldwide with 21st or better. He's finished 11th, 6th, and 2nd to begin his campaign here in 2026. And I mean, most impressively is the ball striking. I mean, he gained 10.7 strokes between his driving and iron play at Waialae, 5.2 shots across 2 rounds of the stadium course of the MX. And last week, I think the most impressive was a 7,700 yard golf course, gained 7.33 shots on approach, led the entire field with his iron play. And now I think this golf course is very like much more Siwoo Kim like adjacent. I mean, it's total driving, mid iron play. Like, you don't really have to be the best putter historically to play well here. It makes a ton of sense for Siwoo. It's just, man, the 27-1 price it could look like really bad in like 2 months when he's like back to Siwoo Kim,
It's I mean, everything you're saying is completely accurate. We kind of talked about it before. Obviously, he played really well at Waialae and the Amex, and those are kind of courses where he has historically played well at and won at before. But to do what he did at Torrey Pines was a bit surprising. And outside of Scheffler, I don't know that anyone in the field's playing better than him right now. It's just kind of like the sticker shock of seeing his name next to some of the guys on this list. And even I have a hard time taking him over some guys that are below him who I just consider to be much better players overall. But he's playing really well right now, and it makes a ton of sense for him, at this course.
Yeah, I don't think I'll end up getting there. I don't think I can do the 25-1 Siwoo, especially when we're gonna get to some names like further down the board, who I don't think are like ostensibly different from Siwoo Kim from a profile perspective. They're playing a little bit worse right now. They're not coming in with the same form. But I mean, just to like give a preview, Colin Morikawa is 50-1, and Siwoo's like 22-25. I mean, I don't think the ball striking upside is that much different between the two of them, personally. And they share the same concerns putting. So,
yeah, I don't think I can get to Siwoo at this number. I mean, I kind of like him more when he's in that mid-range or deeper down the board, and hopefully he can win. But I think it's fair, even though I'm not going to get there with it, just because how well he's hitting it right now. It's hard to deny. I mean, the fact that we're even having the conversation is proving just how well he's playing.
It's very fair. It just feels like it feels like it's like if he wins, it's the most obvious. Like we saw this coming of all time. But like if he just reverts back to like the Siwoo Kim we know and love, like it's just the worst bet of all time at 25. Yeah. There's not a lot of in-betweens here. So, I think I would – oh, man, it's tough. I think I would lean Hideki just based on course history. They're about the same number, 27, 28-1. I think Burns is actually a pretty good bet as well. There, I think, honestly, a lot of these guys are solid, are solidly priced here, like 25, 27, 28, 30-1 on Young, Kim, Matsuyama, and Burns. I mean, Burns has come 3rd and 6th here 2 of the last 3 years. He's the best putter in this field on these kind of overseeded Poana complexes. The middle iron play, like the ball striking has gotten potentially better for Burns like over the last 6 months. He's made real strides. He's top 30 in this field in both off the tee and approach. He's above field average in mid iron proximity. And with his putting, it doesn't take that much to kind of boost him, boost his ceiling kind of to the top of the field. So I don't mind Burns this week. I think just based on my tendencies, I'll probably end up on one of the ball strikers, Cam Young or Matsuyama or Kim. But honestly, I don't have much bad to say about Sam Burns either, 30-1. So,
yeah, I think you can make the case for a lot of these guys. I think Burns is a good fit. I'm kind of with you. I don't think I'm going to get there with him this week, but I certainly wouldn't fault anyone for taking him, and I wouldn't be shocked if he did win.
Yeah. All right, so a lot of interest in that kind of 25 to 30 to 1 range. I haven't gotten there on anyone yet. Matt has locked in Cam Young at 25 to 1 is what you got?
25, yep, on FanDuel.
All right, right on. So Cam Young locked in. I endorse that bet as well. Moving on to the next tier, past 30 to 1, kind of 30 to 40 to 1. Matt McNeely coming off another top finish at Torrey Pines, 33 to 1. Ben Griffin, 33 to 1 on MGM is the best I see in regulated markets, but I will bring up another price here in just a bit that I kind of found on him. Victor Hovland, 35 to 1 is after him. Chris Goddard, 40 to 1. Harris English, 40 to 1. We'll stop there for now. So McNeely, Griffin, Hovland, Goddard, and English. I have less interest in general in this range, but there is one guy that I think I'm going to end up on. What's that?
Yeah, there's one that I have too, and I kind of led with this in my course history thing, saying I'm going to be a little bit contradictory. I like Hovland, and I know that he hasn't played well at this course, but just kind of seeing him arrange down, it doesn't really make sense why he hasn't played well here. And I know you touched on it in your write-up as well, but I mean, there's not like a reason why he wouldn't be a fit here. It seems to be a good course for him. I don't know why he hasn't played well. We haven't seen him stateside yet. He played over in Dubai. I think he was around, 14th or something, if I'm correct.
He the final round in the top 5, and he had Sunday. But for the week, he gained like 10 shots to green. He
hit it pretty well. I mean, I like him a lot. I think he's going to have a pretty good year this year.
Yeah.
I just think the numbers like really good for someone of his caliber and talent. And he's not like completely lost like we've seen him at times over the last couple of years. He kind of messes with his swing a little bit too much for my liking to kind of go through some of those stretches. But when he's playing well, I think he's capable of kind of winning anywhere. So it was tough for me to kind of scroll past him, in this lower tier and just ignore it, despite the, rough history at this event. That's probably why we're catching the numbers that we're catching, but I'm kind of can get past that just because his game definitely fits here.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I mean, you kind of mentioned everything I talked about in my lead up, but I mean, if you just isolate for the proximity range I talked about earlier, 150 to 200, where 40% of approach shots come from, he's the best player in the world. Like, he's 99th percentile strokes gained from 150 to 200. He's 98th percentile proximity to the hole. That's better than Scotty Scheffler. That's better than Hideki Matsuyama. That's better than Xander Schauffele. It's better than all like the elite iron players we talk about week in, week out. Of course, like amazing total driver of the golf ball as well. He should play very, very well. I mean, he gained 4.2 shots off the tee here in his last start at WM in 2023. So he's clearly got, the sightlines figured out off the tee. It's really been the around the green game that's given him a lot of struggles here. But you figure with Hovland, like he's capable. I mean, he won the Valspar last year and he lost around the green. So like he's just one of those guys where if his ball striking's on, he's going to hit enough greens to where, he can just kind of propel himself to contention despite like deficiencies around the greens. So I see 45 to 1 actually at Bookmaker right now, which is a pretty sick number. There's actually guys I'm going to bring up. My guy Ben Griffin is also 45 to 1 on Bookmaker, which I think that's pretty ridiculous, to be honest. I think Griffin has every right to be in the same conversation as Xander and Hideki and Siwoo and Cam Young. I mean, this guy, he's put together maybe the best outside of Scheffler and like maybe Rory. He's probably put together the best 12 months on the PGA Tour, 3 wins, 2 of those being individual. He's strung together. Let me see if I can find his full game log here. Let's see. Yeah, 16 starts since last base PGA. He's finished outside the top 25 just twice, logging 2 wins and 6 top 10s in that time. He's one of just 2 players this week that rates inside the top 20 in all 4 strokes gained metrics. So off the tee approach, around the green putting, doesn't have a single hole in his entire profile. Doesn't have the course history that we would see in like a Scheffler or Matsuyama or some of the other guys we've talked about already. But you kind of have to put in context that Griffin hasn't really become like a top 10 player in the world since, like legit 6 to 8 months ago. So like I'm willing to forgive him for like not contending yet at this event. He finished T36 and T28 his last 2 starts. It's not like he's been bad here. And so he's like legit a top 10 player in the world for me. So to see him at 45 to 1, I think is just a bridge too far. So I'm probably gonna end up on Griffin for sure. You have me on Hovland. I think Hovland has a good case as well, kind of as we creep near 40, 50 to 1. But Griffin's my favorite in this range by a decent margin.
Yeah, I think it's fair, and I think to kind of boost your point there about that number, I'm even just looking at FanDuel, and they have him, to your point, 27 to 1, same number as Burns and Hideki. So that's a great number that you found on him there, and I definitely think that's a misprice for a player of his caliber.
Yeah. Yep. And I mean, yeah, that was the guy I was talking about, kind of one of the guys I was talking about beforehand without market. Like without Scotty Scheffler on DraftKings right now, Griffin is, I think, 22 to 1. 20 plus 2250. So he's literally double the price. If you're willing to take on Scheffler, you can get 45 to 1, which I think, I don't have the math in front of me, but I think that's a pretty safe bet when we're just taking one guy out of the equation. So yeah. Have you locked in Hovland, by the way, or have you bet him? Or
I haven't officially locked it in yet, but I'm going to. He's actually going up a little bit. He's 33 right now on FanDuel. He was like 30 when I checked earlier. So maybe he's trending in the right direction. I don't know if he's going to be popular this week or not, or if I wait, maybe he'll keep creeping up there. I don't know.
I think you'll catch the drift. Some of the offshores I'm looking at have him in the 40s. So I don't think DraftKings has him posted right now at 35 to 1. So he's kind of across the board 33, 35. So usually when that happens, when like all the books are like pretty much aligned, one of them will drift as the week goes on as he kind of takes their action. So because I don't know. I don't imagine there's too much hype around him. We haven't seen him in the States yet. He's not played well here. So that's usually the two indicators that he's going to kind of catch some steam. But
that which I would like. So I might hold out on him to officially place that, but I am going to be on him this week.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to be on Griffin. Matt's going to be on Hovland. I might also join you on Hovland. I'm not sure, but
and I have some room to kind of wiggle around here and add a guy. So I could be convinced into one more player.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And for me, as we kind of go up through the ranges here, I think the ranges are a little bit shallower this week. Not in terms of field strength, but in terms of guys I actually think can win this event. This is a week where I tend to like focus more in the tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 range rather than just kind of punting at 100 to 1 plus.
I'm with you, especially with kind of Scotty and his history here.
Yeah, exactly. Unless your name's Nick Taylor or Thomas Dietrich,
who
just caught the iron heater of a lifetime, getting 7 shots in approach in a random week. So, all right, let's move on into kind of the 40 to 50 to 1 range. A lot of, again, seriously interesting names here as we move past Harris English here at 40 to 1. We have Sahith Theegala, 45, very popular this week. Jake Knapp coming off a nice finish at Torrey Pines. He's 45 to 1. Colin Morikawa, 45 to 1. Ricky Fowler, past champion, 45 to 1. JJ Spawn, 45 to 1. Matt Fitzpatrick, 49. Brooks Koepka, 50 to 1. That's where we'll stop. So Theegala, Knapp, Morikawa, Fowler, Spawn, Fitzpatrick, Koepka. You can make an argument a lot of these guys, I mean, just based on like name value alone and some of the numbers I'm seeing, like this is a value range if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'll bury the lead here, but I'm gonna. Theegala's interesting. I haven't officially placed it yet. He's starting to trend in the right direction. I think that he's back to playing good golf. Makes a lot of sense here. He made a run at this tournament a few years back. That's someone who I've definitely considered. Like you said, there's a lot of big names here. I'm probably gonna end up on Brooks. Not a big surprise. I don't know what you made of him last week and kind of where that leaves you for this week. Did you leave encouraged, or kind of where do you stand on his performance and kind of how you feel about him going into this week?
I mean, for a debut, I don't think it was a bad performance. Like you kind of mentioned earlier, he gained in all 3 categories from tee to green. Like he hit the ball well. Finished, I think, top 12 in tee to green among guys that made the cut, and happened to lose over 7 shots on the green. So I know he finished T56 by a result standpoint, probably not the result we're hoping for, but underlying stats wise, I think there's enough there to kind of give him another shot this week, especially considering in the past he's he's been pretty like outspoken about not really loving Poana. So I think now we get him on a golf course where he's clearly more comfortable. Florida guy is probably going to like the overseat a bit better than he liked the West Coast stuff last week. So I don't think he's going to lose 7 shots putting. And obviously, last time we saw him here, he was in contention. He was paired with Scheffler when Scheffler won his first, if I remember right.
Yeah, it's interesting. He hit it really well. I think that's a good sign. Obviously, the putting was terrible. He likes, obviously, this event. He's won it twice. Seemed like the crowd was behind him last week, which will be good. I mean, there's a rowdy crowd this week. It seems like they're kind of rooting for him. There hasn't been too much. I'm sure there's some people, but it hasn't been too much like kind of hate for the live, move, and coming back. It seems like everyone's behind him, and including like the PGA and Tour and the broadcast was loving him. There's really not too much negativity around him, which is a bit surprising. But I think the big concern is the putter, and it's kind of been like that's been his problem really the last couple of years. Where the putters just let him down. Even at the majors, he's kind of hit it well overall, and the results have been held back because he just hasn't putted well. So I know there was a report that he was at the Scotty Cameron warehouse for hours on Saturday night, whatever, working on it. But I don't know if the putting woes are going to be kind of too much for him to win here. He's going to have to make a good amount of birdies to win this week, but. I think the number is justifiable for taking. I mean, I think he hit it well enough last week to have some confidence in him going into this week.
Yeah, I'm certainly not out on Brooks, especially if you can get a number over like 50, 55 to 1. I think is the best I see. I think that's worth it just based on course history. And we kind of talked about it with him last week. It's like if it's going to happen for Brooks, it's probably going to happen either last week or this week at Phoenix. So. Yeah, why not take one more bite of the cherry? He showed enough signs, I think, he'd agree to warrant a shot. The problem I'm kind of having is I like a lot of these guys in this range. Like, obviously, I like Colin. Let's just get that out of the way. I mean,
are you gonna take him? This is like he's at a number where it's kind of like, why not?
Dude, we've talked about this kind of after the Sony, where I kind of was already preparing for the talk of like if Colin Morikawa hits 50 to 1 or 60 to 1. And these kind of bigger fields, like I might just. The thing is, like the case for him is so easy. That's the problem I have like with Colin, and that's what kind of gets me in trouble with him. Like kind of week in week out, even when he's like 20 to 1 at the Sony, and I bet him. It's just like you know what you're gonna get from a ball striking standpoint. Like he's gonna hit every fairway, and he's gonna be one of the best iron players in the field. It's just the putter is like what. As dead as can be. Like it's just never going to cooperate. So it's like the real question you're asking if you're betting Colin is like, how likely is he to gain 2 to 4 strokes putting? Because if you sign me up for +3, like he's going to finish top 10 to 15 in the field, like at a minimum. So,
yeah, I guess to your point, it's sort of, I mean, people are taking Si Woo, and he has the putting concerns as well. I mean, he's hitting it really well, but I mean, long term, you're talking about Colin Morikawa, one of the best, iron players in the world. I think it's definitely worth. I think it's justified to take a stab on at this number if you're like a Colin guy. I don't know if I'm going to take him or not, but I wouldn't fault anyone for doing it. I think the number is pretty. I mean, it's as good as we've seen in a while.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I am a Colin guy. The thing is, I understand the bear case. Like, the dude hasn't won in 2.5 years now. We're going on to, like, since October 2023. He hasn't won in a golf event, and that was a swing season event at the Zozo. So, I mean, I understand the hesitation. It's just like I run numbers every week, and this guy, I mean, he just continues to be a top 5 iron player, a top 10 driver in this field. He doesn't really have the course history, but kind of like Hovland, it's very easy to project Colin to play well this week. I mean, to finish top 5 in ball striking, and if he putts well, he's going to finish inside the top 10 or 15 at the bare minimum, like I said. So, I understand like people that just are completely hands off, but yeah, we're approaching numbers now where 50 to 1. we're still
Sounds like you're going to do it.
I mean, I'm probably gonna. I would have done it at 35-1, but
I think you have to. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on what I do the rest of my card. Like if I bet a guy or two like under 30, then that kind of constructs what I can do kind of in this range, because I like Fitzpatrick as well. Like I think Fitzpatrick's really well set up for this golf course. 2 top 15 finishes of his career here. Played really well down the stretch. Like I talked about him in my rankings being maybe one of the more underrated commodities in world golf heading into 2026. Like his back half of 2025 was incredible over there. Like starting at the PGA Championship. Let me see here. Whoops. Yeah, starting at the PGA. I don't have it. Anyway.
Yeah, we touched on him. Maybe it was the Amex episode.
The Amex.
After when me and you were talking, and we were both pretty high on him this year. I know I've kind of been keeping my eye on him at. I think the PGA Championship could be a decent spot for him as a major future. Just because that's I think that's a course that could fit his game, and it's sort of one of those Northeast courses where he won the U.S. Open at Brookline up in Mass, so could be interesting there. I think I saw like 80 on FanDuel. I don't know if you can find him any better anywhere else, but definitely something I'm keeping my eye on. I think he's, like you said, great close to 2025. I think he's under the radar right now.
Yeah, I mean, since PGA 8th, 31st, 38th, 17th, 8th, 4th, 8th, 32nd, 17th, 6th, 5th, 5th, 21st, 32nd win. So, and he won the DP World Tour title at the end of last year. So I think we talked about the Amex. Even though I liked his profile coming into the year, I didn't really have the fit that week with this being like such an easy golf course, birdie fest, wedge intensive. I think as courses get longer, they get more driver heavy. You have more approaches from kind of 150, 175, 200 yards. That benefits Fitzpatrick. His 2 best performances in Europe over the fall came at Wentworth and the Jumeirah Golf Estates, the Earth Course in Dubai, which are like 73 and 7,600 golf courses respectively. So had his best approach week last year at the PGA at Quail Hollow again, long iron intensive, difficult golf course. So I think as we get to some of these kind of, again, signature events where, difficult score conditions arise and it's more about scrambling and bogey avoidance and long iron play, total driving. I think that's kind of the fit where Fitzpatrick, of course, that Fitzpatrick shoots a lot better. And if we're getting 45-1 in a field like this, I'm probably going to be riding Fitzpatrick for the better part of the next kind of 2 months. Like, let's go to Pebble Beach next week. The Florida swing, he's played really well historically. So, I like him to kind of start his season off really strong. So I like him a lot. So him and Colin would probably be my 2 in the vacuum that I would like the best.
Okay, yeah, I would follow you for either of them. I think Fitzpatrick's definitely interesting. I'm probably going to end up taking Brooks. I don't think that I'm going to be able to kind of pass on it, especially at the courses he's won twice.
Yeah.
And this is the last time we could take him for a little bit now. He's not going to be in the elevated events, so might as well do it one more time, and then we'll revisit this come the Cognizant. I guess is the next time.
Yeah, it'll be in Palm Beach. That'll be fun. Little home crowd for him.
Yeah.
So you'll talk yourself into him there.
Another reason to get back on him. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We'll go past 50-1 here. More kind of interesting names. Jordan Spieth, I feel like kind of belongs in that Brooks Koepka conversation. Maybe some question marks about recent form, but certainly has the course history around TPC Scottsdale. He's 55-1 right now on DraftKings. Michael Thorbjornsen and Pearson Coody, both 60-1 guys that played quite well last week at Torrey Pines, long hitters, big time ball strikers, young talents, who I think we all project for some big things in 2026. Harry Hall, 60-1, that's your guy. Corey Connor, 62-1, and Wyndham Clark, 66-1. We'll throw in Rasmus and Daniel Berger there as well. So Rasmus Højgaard, 66-1, Daniel Berger also 66-1. Both guys played really well actually here last year. Daniel Berger finished T2, and I had Rasmus at a pretty big number outright. I think he bogeyed the last few holes to finish like T12, but he was very much in the mix on Sunday of last year. So Thorbjornsen, Coody, Hall, Connors, Clark, Højgaard, Berger. Is there interest here at all, or is this kind of a range where you're starting to run out of names?
Berger, I typically like. I don't know that he's going to win this week. He kind of went a little bit. Where did we take him last? We both on
took him the Amex.
Yeah,
that
he
was
kind of let us down a little bit there. I still like him. I don't know. He did play well here last year.
good. Yeah.
I'm torn on him whether he could do it or not.
I think wait for
Spieth is
Florida.
someone who's kind of intriguing to me. I know you touched on him in the opening of this segment. He's sort of one of those guys, like when he's on, he has the ability to kind of get really hot and go low. I mean, if he's in the mix on the weekend, the crowd's going to be behind him. He always kind of pops here and plays well here. So the number is big enough where I think it's maybe justified to take a stab. He's not, the player that he once was, I guess, but he kind of always seems to play well here. I think the crowd will be behind him if he's in the mix. He does good on those stretches where he gets hot. Can he do it for 72 holes? The answer is not really lately, but I don't know. He's definitely got my interest.
Yes. Spieth is the opposite of Hovland for me this week. Like Spieth, it makes no sense why Spieth's played so well here.
Yeah.
And like he has all the results and like none of the underlying stats. And Hovland, like if you run like a model this week, Hovland's going to probably be in your top 10. But like he's never played well here in his life. I mean, Spieth has legit. I mean, he's made 9 starts here. He's come inside the top 10 on 6 occasions, including each of the last 3 times he's heated up here. 2025 finished 4th. 2 years ago finished 6th. 3 years ago finished 6th as well. His iron play around this golf course is ridiculous. On 5 occasions over his 9 starts, he's gained over 6 shots on approach. He gained 6.9 here last year, 8.4 in 2023, 7.8 in 2021, 7.2 in 2017. Which, if you look at like his mid-iron stats, like just long-term, he's not really like an amazing iron player from like any of the ranges that we're looking at this week. So it's kind of difficult to understand kind of why he improves that baseline much, but clearly there's something with Spieth in this golf course. So yeah, if you're going to bet Spieth, it feels like it has to be either this week or Pebble. Because I feel like, yeah, that's like this week or Pebble is the last week where I'm have like any interest in kind of hopping on that bandwagon. But clearly there's something here. I don't know what it is, but
yeah. And I mean, this week's going to be not the elevated event. So
true.
Theoretically you would have a better shot at him this week. He was okay at the Sony. So last time we saw him, I mean, he didn't do anything spectacular, but he kind of was fine across the board. I feel like even when he was like playing poorly, he's kind of still played well here. So
yeah, for sure.
I don't know. Yeah, he's definitely. I might do it with him this week. He's not. I don't typically take him either, but
yeah.
Kept there, but it's just kind of like. I don't know. He kind of always seems to pop here.
Get ready for the square comments on Twitter when you post Koepka Spieth on your
and Cameron Young, yeah.
And Cameron Young, yeah. Oh man,
I might as well just find the auto-generated card, yeah.
Yeah, may as well just get my my best friend that hasn't watched golf in like 10 years to make the card for us. But no, I completely get it though. Like it's one of those things where it just depends on how much you weigh course history. And like for me, if I just run just my straight ball striking numbers, like Spieth is outside the top 50. But I mean, he keeps top 10ing here. So what can I say? Eventually, I've got to take that in consideration and saying, okay, he's probably just more likely to exceed those baselines this week. So yeah, I tend to like the range ahead of this range better. I think I'd prefer Fitzpatrick, Morikawa, even I don't know, Brooks or Spieth is really tough for me, but yeah, I think this is kind of a range where it starts to fall off for sure. I mean, yeah.
Do you have any, not to completely jump guys, but
yeah.
What do you think of Wyndham Clark this week? He kind of had a bit of a regression last week after a good showing at the Amex. He's a Scottsdale guy, isn't he?
He is.
Not that really is the end all be all, but maybe a bounce back this week for him. I don't know if I'm going to get there, but it's still decent number for him. He's definitely playing better than he had last year. But
yeah, it's probably not for me. I'm not really a Wyndham guy in general, and we kind of talked about the Amex. Like I tend to like Wyndham Clark a lot better at like shorter setups, like because his wedge play is really really elite compared to like his middle iron play or his long iron play over the last kind of 12 to 24 months. So whenever I can get him when he has a lot of wedges in hand and like strangely easier score conditions for like a U.S. Open champion, you'd expect Wyndham to be better on like more difficult golf courses. But at least over the last kind of 3 to 4 years, when things get easier, that's when I tend to like Wyndham a bit more. So again, Wyndham as well. Another kind of red flag for me in his profile is we talked about the room you're afforded off the tee here at TPC Scottsdale, but you can't like the one thing you can't do here is spray it off the tee because you're gonna end up in native area and desert area.
Yeah.
If there's like the safest bet for the guy that end up like next to a cactus on day one, like I feel like Wyndham's probably the safest.
Yeah, even like his U.S. Open was, I mean, LACC, you could be 40 yards right and you're in another fairway and you're fine.
So I'm probably gonna be off of Wyndham. I honestly would maybe rather take a shot on one of the youngsters. I mean, Cootie's had a great start to the year, and Thorbjornsen is a guy that I think we all expect pretty big things out of this year. So, if I had to pick a guy from this range, I would probably go with Spieth or Cootie. But I think if I'm in the 40s and 50s, I'm more likely to bet Fitzpatrick, Collin, maybe Tigala or Spawn rather than anyone in this range.
That's fair.
Yep. Okay, so we move on into, let's see, past 66 to 1, so 70 to 1. Again, we're going to be a bit more, and we're already over an hour, so we got to be more concise here. Kitayama, who was second in our model, I guess we have to kind of bet him out of.
I know, he's, yeah.
70 to 1, is the best number to be found on him. Minwoo Lee, 72 to 1. Matt McCarty, same number. Keith Mitchell, who struck the ball great last week. He actually, I think, led the field in ball striking around Torrey Pines, so classic Keith Mitchell trap there. Nikolai Højgaard, 75 to 1. Poston, 75. Nick Taylor, 76. Sepp Straka, 88. That is kind of the 70 to 80 range. Kitayama, Minwoo, McCarty, Mitchell, Højgaard, Poston, Taylor, Straka. A lot of guys who I think are going to be very trendy, like placement bets, matchup bets, DraftKings picks, but anyone you see actually maybe taking this thing down or flirting with it?
Straka's pretty interesting though at that number.
Yes.
I mean, he hit the ball really well on approach. It looks like at the Amex, even though he missed a cut. He's a guy who's kind of, gotten a lot more win equity over the last couple of years compared to how people saw him prior. The number just seems off on him.
Crazy. Yeah.
So, he's someone who definitely, I just think from a number pricing perspective, you kind of have to pay attention to and almost have to take.
I agree. I think it was a pretty trendy pick. I'm actually kind of surprised to still see him at 88 to 1 because I feel like a lot of people, that was my first reaction when I saw the odds board this morning was, wow, Straka at 88 to 1. But yeah, I mean, he has a lot of the same things that we were looking for with Siwoo, Collin, even like a Corey Connors or something like that, like further up the board. But he's won twice in the last 12 months now. Finished third at the Hero. I mean, it's not like he's in a run of bad form. He just had one miscut of the Amex. The start before that, he played really well at the Hero World Challenge and had a 15th place finish here last year. Gained over 6 shots on approach that week as well. So, yeah, I'm right there with you in terms of pure value plays. I think Straka stands out the most. The rest of these guys, it's tougher for me to really rationalize. I think, like I said, I've got so much interesting guys from kind of 20 to 40 that I think I'll probably run out of room. But yeah, if I do kind of end up,
are we gonna trust the model with Kitayama or? If we don't take him and he was number 2 and we can get him at this number and he wins, we're gonna like kick ourselves.
Yeah, I'll be sick, dude. I'll be sick. He came T8 here in 2024. Like the putter is real bad, but I understand. I get it. Is that really the best number? Yeah, 77 to 1 is the best I can find. I mean, I might just play it out of principle.
Yeah, just the model.
Yeah. Did he play Torrey? Why didn't he play Torrey last week?
I don't know.
He should be perfect for Torrey Pines.
Yeah, it does seem like that would be a better fit. It's actually kind of funny too. Hovland played this over Torrey too, and he's played well at Torrey Pines.
Yeah. There you go. There's your angle. Yeah, he's he chose it, so he chose it over Torrey Pines, so he must there must be something. I'm kind of out on guys to really to really give a lot of credence to. I know like Hal Tong's been really good, like from tee to green over the first kind of couple starts, but I don't know. Keith Mitchell, I'm not going to fall for that again.
Yeah, I have fallen victim to Mitchell too much. Seems like people are. I mean, Tony's starting to trend in the right direction. He's played well here, but I'm not going to get there this week. But I have seen some people kind of talking about him. This is a course that he's historically been good at, but I just don't think that he's there yet.
130 to 1. Yeah.
Akshay's down there too, Akshay, and he rated out well in our model. I'm not going to take him, but
Akshay rated out well because I filtered the last 75 rounds in the last 12 months. So if you zoom out enough, Akshay looks real good, but like recently it's been like pretty egregious. He played horrible at the MX, and then he missed the cut again at the Farmers last week. So I'm kind of disappointed because I really thought Akshay was going to be a play next week, or not next week, but 2 weeks from now at Riv, because like shot shaping, iron play, lefty, right? Like Bubba, Phil, Mike Weir, like lefties have played really, really Riviera through the years. So I thought Akshay was like dream fit at Riv. He's a California guy, so he's played well in the POA throughout his career. So I was already looking forward to like the 125 to 1 ticket to cash for 2026, but not looking likely at this point in time. I don't even know if he's qualified for Riv right now. But yeah, I'm kind of done. I think I'm probably gonna end up like Cam Young, maybe Decky, Griffin, more Cal Fitzpatrick. Like just kind of sort between those guys. And I think after that, I'm not going to have much room left.
Are you going to end up taking Straka?
Straka? Yeah, I might take Straka.
Yeah, I think I might too. I'm going to have Cam Young, Hovland. I got to figure out the mid-range. I do kind of think Spieth and Brooks is a little bit too square there.
No, but but there's actual reasoning for it though. Like, I mean, we talked about how
there is. Yeah.
Like I don't think it's a bad bet.
It's funny too because I don't really ever take Spieth for kind of obvious reasons. But yeah, I think I'm gonna take Straka just out of principle with that number.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, you could probably make the case Straka's a better bet than Morikawa. 85 versus 50, and Straka's actually won. I don't have near that Straka either.
We'll talk offline and decide if we want to do the Kitayama model bet or not.
Yeah, I mean it's like $25 or so. I might just toss that on. I can't. I mean, yeah, we can't have them second the modeling and then just
ignore him all the way at that number.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I bet Colin Morikawa and he hits every green and somehow finishes over par for the week. All right. Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm not really into long shots this week. Do you have anyone like past 100 to 1 that you're looking at, or you kind of done?
Yeah, I mean, I'll have the article out for guys that, to be frank, I think that they're probably a better idea for like placement play this week. I just don't see anyone that far down winning this year. I know that kind of Nick Taylor was a little outside the box, and even not a lot of people saw Dietrich coming, but just with the way Scheffler's playing and how well he's played at this course, I think it's going to take someone who's pretty legitimate to take him down this week. So I think we're looking at a guy probably in the top half of the board.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because I'm putting so much time in the power rankings every single week, but like, man, I'm just Mr. Chalk in 2026 so far. So I don't know. It's been a lot of the same story for me so far this year. It's like just betting a lot of guys from 20 to 40 to 1. So, but I think this week is like this field is deep enough to where I think there is a clear drop off kind of after Brooks and Spieth.
Yeah, I agree. And even last week, I mean, we were kind of in the range that Rose fell into. We just didn't land on him. Yeah. To take away some positive away from it.
Yeah, we bet 48-year-old Adam Scott.
Yeah, he did exactly what we knew he would do.
Yeah. If there's money on Adam Scott, like finishing T21.
Yeah, and it was like the worst part is it wasn't even bad enough where like I'm not going to take him again. I'm going to fall right back into the trap in like 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, fast forward 12 months, we're like, oh dude, Adam Scott was top 30 here last year, gained stick shots, ball striking. What a pick. Rose will still be 80 to 1.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate y'all tuning in. Little bit of a wonky episode this week, but certainly one of the more fun events in the schedule. Third leg of the West Coast Swing, got a couple elevated events coming up, so a lot of really, really nice tournaments between here, Pebble Beach, Riviera to come. Hopefully we can cash something, get you some nice sweats here before the Super Bowl. Of course, my card and Matt's card will be out on our personal Twitter accounts, at flag_hunting, at Matty Mills 85. Matt, you got your long shots article coming out as well. Usually it's on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, somewhere in there.
Yeah, usually, last week I had it out later on Tuesday. Hoping for the same. I'll probably have it out tomorrow.
Right on.
Yeah,
cool. So he's got the launch article out. I've got my Power Rankings out every single Monday morning. Course preview as well on Tuesday morning. As of right now, I will be on. I'm probably going to join you on Cam Young. I mean, it's the ultimate suckers bet, but man, it makes so much sense that it would just be a shame not to. And then I'm going to be on Griffin for sure, 45-1. And then I'm trying to sort through, like, if I bet 2 to 3 of like Colin Fitzpatrick, Spawn, Spieth, Koepka, or just go back to like Matsuyama or a Siwoo or something like that. That's kind of where I'm at. So, Matt, it seems like you've locked in Cam Young, and then you've got a couple guys down the board too, right?
Yeah, I've locked in Cam Young. I'm definitely going to take Hovland, and I think I'm going to take Brooks as well. And I think I'm just going to take Sepp Straka out of the principal there, but I'm going to kind of sort through the mid-range and probably add another guy or two in there. Hopefully we come back with a little bit more positive result next week than this week, but it'll come. The winners will come.
Well, yep. The good news is, if you didn't end up on Justin Rose last week, you didn't come within 7 shots of winner. So if there's ever a week to just swing and miss, it seemed like last week was it. I think exactly. You either had Rose or you didn't have a sweat. So here's hoping for a better finish this week.